Well, a very good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome once again to Virtual Church here on a Sunday night, brought to you by me, Richard McVeigh, here on Beauty in Sound. Kicking right off there with a hymn, There's a wideness in God's mercy, like the wideness of the sea. Not to the tune Corvedale, as I'm sure most of our British and English listeners would have been craving for, but to the tune there in Babylone, which I thought, we haven't had that tune for a long time, but it apparently is very popular around the world. Give me a thumbs up if you did indeed know that tune. Well, what a week that I've had this week. Wonderful week, an incredibly musically busy and I think musically uplifting week. I'll tell you a bit more about that as we go through the show tonight. Lots of organs played, lots of music played. We are now in week 4 of the Isaac Watts Hymn World Cup, and that is week 4 of 5. So next week is the final week, meaning next week is the final of the World Cup. What makes it into the final is, as always, completely over to you. So tonight we are in the quarterfinals, and there are only 8 hymns remaining, only 8, down from 32. So we're going to have 4 matches tonight, so matches 17, 18, 19 and 20. 2 hymns in each group competing to make it through to the next week. So without further ado, let's go into our first match this evening, which, if you are following the chart, which is available on the public Facebook page of A Beauty in Sound, you can follow it on there. You'll see the teams or the hymns that are playing in each match tonight. We're going to start with match number 17. And what I do, if you're new to this, what I do is I create a poll in the live chat, and you can click a button, and then you can vote for your favorite hymn. It's very important, as I keep on saying, that you vote for the words and not the music. That is so important. Okay, it's the words because it's Isaac Watts. So here we are, look, match number 17. And once I've finished the playing the match, I'm going to play some pre-requests. I'm going to try to get through some pre-requests now. So these might be going back from previous weeks. So if you made me a request over the past month or so, I'm going to try to play as many as I can. There are quite a lot, and I obviously can't play them all, but I'm just chosen some to make a nice program out of tonight. So I'll do the matches, so 2 hymns in each match, and then I'll play 2 items whilst you're voting, and then we'll have another match, and so on. Okay, so match number 17 is, as you can see on the screen, it's Come Let Us Join Our Cheerful Songs versus I Sing the Almighty Power of God. And the wonderful thing, the most exciting thing about when we get into these later stages is the more popular hymns are competing to go to the next round, which will make it a much harder decision, I think, for you to vote. Okay, so let me find this this first hymn that we're going to have. Come, let us join our cheerful songs with angels round the throne. 10,000 are their tongues, but all their joys are one. And why are we doing the Isaac Watts competition? It's because Isaac Watts will be 350 a week on Wednesday. That's why. A big birthday for Isaac. Older than you, and you over there, and you in the back, even older than you. Not quite as old as me. Sometimes I feel like that anyway. Okay, so let's have a go now with match 17. This is the wonderful tune, by the way, Nativity. But that doesn't matter, because you're not voting for the tune. Let's go. So that was Come Let Us Join Our Cheerful Songs with Angels Around the Throne. 10,000 are their tongues, but all their joys are one. That hymn is competing against I Sing the Almighty Power of God, which I'll play right now. Thank you very much, James, for putting the link. If you could do the same for this next hymn, that would be great, so people can follow the words. You'll all know this tune. It's the wonderful Easter tune, ELLACOMBE, which is, well, you know what the words are for this one, don't you? The day of resurrection. as Jim has just said, this hymn really is so much fun to play because you have little unison intersections. So you can harmonize those if you like. Yeah, wonderful. I associate that music with Easter. The day of resurrection, tell it out abroad. You know, it's wonderful. But it's not about the music, it's about the words, as I keep on saying. Right. So this is now where I hand over to you. So what I need to do is copy paste very quickly into the chat the text. So this is match 17, and you just heard, "Come let us join our cheerful songs." I'll pop that in there like that. And then you can vote. And then I'm going to play some pre-requests that we've had over the weeks. There you go. So over to you. So I'm going to play now a hymn that's come in from Jim Kime, who requested this a while ago. It's "In heavenly love abiding, no change my heart shall fear, and safe is such confiding, for nothing changes here. The storm may roar without me, my heart may low be laid, but God is round about me, and can I be dismayed?" The words are by Anna Lieta Waring, and the tune is called "PENLEN" by David Jenkins. And it's coming from Jim Kime, who is one of our esteemed Patreons. So thank you very much, Jim, for your patronage. I really appreciate that. Should we have the clarinet for this? We've not had this clarinet yet today. A beautiful little tune called Penlen. In heavenly love abiding, no change my heart shall fear. It's quite topical, really, given politics in Europe at the minute, with France and England, with a bit of change. So thank you very much, Jim, for requesting that. I'm now going to play a little ditty by Handel, which has been requested by the Flight Sim Pro /Jan. I think the Flight Sim Pro might sometimes go by the name of Jan. I don't know, perhaps. I'm just taking the massive, wild assumption there. Maybe the Flight Sim Pro, that's what he's changed his name to. Maybe that's what he was christened as. It would be rather ironic if the Flight Sim Pro is not into flight sims, is actually into first-person shooters. That would be annoying, wouldn't it? Anyway, so he or she has requested Largo from the oratorio Xerces by George Friedrich Handel. What should we have for the solo? Let's have... not had that one. Let's try the solo, the flute harmonique on the solo division. I think that would work nicely. And then after this, we'll have a look at the vote. I can see now it's quite close, so you've got to make sure that you are voting. Okay, so Largo from Handel's Xerces. beautiful movement, isn't it? And I'm so glad that you all, a lot of you have a lot of personal attachment to that music, whether for good reasons or for personal reasons, you know? Music can really speak to you in that way, can't it? Do I have anyone in tonight who I met quite a few of my subscribers, and indeed I met quite a few of my Patreons over the previous week. It was very nice to meet people in real life and put a face to a screen name. That's always a bit of a treat. I've got a bit of lens glare on the camera there. That's from this light here. Look. I did a recital in Birmingham on Thursday in St. Chad's Cathedral, and I had a few people upstairs in the loft with me, very, very close, and it was great fun for me, at least, to be able to sort of show people around me what it's like to play an organ. And I love it when people are close and watching. I actually feel more relaxed in a very strange way, rather than being so separated from everyone. So it was great to meet some people. If you are in, please do say hello. The 4 concerts this week, 4 concerts, and now I'm doing, it was Arundel this morning, Romsey this evening, and then virtual Romsey via Houtwerk Virtual Church tonight. So it's been a bit of a week, but been a really cool and a great experienced week. Lots of people met and lots of music played. Okay, where's this year poll? So how many votes have we had? We've had over 100, which is promising. We've got over 220 people currently watching, 224 according to my analytics page. And there we go, more votes coming in now. I had 107, 100, 507. Okay, so I think we've all voted. Yeah. If you can't see the vote and you're watching on here, you might not be watching on here. I mean, it's not very good on your phone, is it? Or you might be watching on the iPad, headphones on perhaps. If you close the chat window and then reopen the chat window, you'll see it there. Another trick is, if you're watching it on your big screen, which I know a lot of you do because you can use the proper speakers in your living room, fire up the stream also on your phone or on your tablet, and then you have access to the poll. This is a demographic here, so I need to have a good turnout, as we say in the elections, a good turnout. We didn't have a great turnout in our elections last week, which I was rather surprised about. Anyway, so enough about that. We've had 113 votes, excellent. And we can see that the winner is, I must say, I'm rather surprised by that. Where's my pen gone? There it is. The winner of match 17 is I Sing the Almighty Power of God. So that means I Sing the Almighty Power of God is going into match 21. Okay. And I Sing the Almighty Power of God will play the winner of match 18, which, by the way, I'm going to save until the end because that's a very, very hard match. It's sort of like the elite, I think, teams playing there. Actually, match 20 is very hard as well. But so the next match that we're going to do is match 19. Okay, so I'll just copy paste the hymns into the chat just in case you can't see what they are. If somebody could once again just paste a link to my BIS Facebook page where the chart is, that would be fantastic. Replace pinned message. There we go. So I've just pinned it so you can see it. Okay, right. Let's get into match number 19. My shepherd will supply my need. Let's get that one up and running, shall we? My shepherd, my shepherd, my shepherd. Oh, this is to the tune of Resignation, which comes from Southern Harmony. I think this is an Southern American folk tune, a spiritual, I'm not sure. My shepherd will supply my need. Jehovah is his name. In pastures fresh he makes me feed beside the living stream. He brings my wandering spirit back when I forsake his ways, and leads me for his mercy's sake in paths of truth and grace. James Palmer, my dear producer, has just pasted a link in the chat so you can all follow the words if you need to. There are only 3 verses, and it is a paraphrase of Psalm 23. Okay, let's get into our second match this evening. This is match number 19. I must confess that I'm rather fond of that music. This tune is called Resignation, and it has been requested numerous times, particularly by American viewers. It's obviously quite big in America. Please do let me know, guys, in America, is that a big, well-known tune over in your country? It's not, I don't As far as I'm aware, it's not a well-known tune in this country. So I've got 2 questions on the go there. Is it a well-known tune in America? And for the British folk, is it well-known here, or has it just passed me by? Okay, so the second hymn in match 19, our second match tonight, is Come We That Love the Lord. To the tune Marching to Zion. Let's have a look. So people are saying, yes, we sing it, but I don't know where you guys are. Oh, I know, Gregory, I think you're in America. Thomas Ferranti, you're in America. I know that. Catherine Cobb, are you in the States? I think you think you guys are all stateside, aren't you? Doug, you're in. Yeah. Ben says yeah as well. Hi, Ian. How are you doing, Ian Garden? Hello to you all, by the way. It's always such a treat to see familiar names returning. I do really appreciate you coming back. Hello, Will. By the way, I'm going to, if you'd like to ask me some questions, if you would like to ask a question of me, it could be a philosophical question, it could be to do with organ. I'm going to have a bit of a Q&A a bit later on. So we've got a top 5 tonight. So if you have a question for me, just leave a little tip, put something in the tip jar. It could be for anything you want. It could be £1, but it just highlights it. It comes up as a big colour, and we can capture that question. And I'll do my very best to answer it in a sensible manner. Depends how sensible your question is, really. If it's a not sensible question, then so yeah, that's to come. So we'll capture those questions and then we'll get around to them later on. If you want to know my innermost secrets, if you do, then you got to dig deep. Hi, Chris. Yeah, I'm with you, Christina. I know the tune only through BIS. Absolutely. Who else said hi, Richard? Peter Sharp said hello, Richard. How you doing, Peter? Now, what's on your mug, Peter? We can't possibly see what's on it. Does it say world's funkiest, world's most generous granddad, father, brother, whatever? I haven't got one of those mugs. I've got the nearest one that is to me is 30 on it. And that's because I'm 30. I have been alive for 30 years and a few more, but I have been alive for at least 30 years. Anyway, come on, let's have a go with this next hymn. So, come we that love the Lord, and let our joys be known. Join in a song with sweet accord. Join in a song with sweet accord. And thus surround the throne. Then the refrain is, we're marching to Zion, beautiful Zion. We're marching upward to Zion, the beautiful city of God. Which, by the way, is not by Isaac Watts. That's a Rupert Lowery edition. So we disqualify the refrain from the comp, but the verses are indeed Isaac Watts. So it's known as We're Marching to Zion. And the tune is called, I think, We're Marching to Zion, perhaps, by Robert Lowery. Okay, it's good fun though. Let's have a go. Let's have a go with this. So that was the second hymn in the match, in match 19. So that obviously means now that I close, well, I don't close it, I actually give you the poll and then play a couple more pre-requests. So let me start a poll, and then this is where you guys get voting. So we want to have a good turnout, okay? So how many people have I got in my audience now? Around 230. Good to have you all here, but I want to have a good turnout, okay? I want to have a really good turnout. That means you've all got to vote. So get your device, whatever it is, choose. All right, so you had, if you need reminding, my shepherd will supply my need, to that beautiful tune, Resignation. And we are going to have, we just had, Come we that love the Lord, and let our joys be known, to the tune, the funky, uplifting tune, We're Marching to Zion. And whilst you're doing that, I'm now going to go back to my list and see what I'm going to play next. Okay, so Tyler Hyman requested a hymn which is very, very popular amongst sort of christenings and weddings, and indeed primary school assemblies. It's, of course, it's All Things Bright and Beautiful. Now, which tune? Oh, he wants Royal Oak. Oh, have I got it on here? Do I need to go? Perhaps need to go into the onto the iPad. No, I do not. It's right here. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful. The Lord God made them all. And then the verses, each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings. God made their glowing colours and made their tiny wings. Do, do, do. All things bright and beautiful. Let me take a quick look to see what's been going on in the chat before I play this. Make sure I'm capturing people's activities. So thank you. Oh, wow. I had a red donation just now. Who's that from? Michelle. You're a naughty lady. I really appreciate that. That's so generous of you. That means so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. But that's outrageous. So if you me a question, I will answer your question later on. Absolutely no problem at all. Thank you very much, Gregory and Brendan, for your contributions to the tip jar. And I've had quite a few new members tonight. Why is that? Has someone been... Oh, Bill. Bill, why doesn't it surprise me? You're a good one. You are a real good one. So Bill gifted 5 memberships, so we've got 5 new channel members, courtesy of Bill. So thank you so much, Bill. Had a request from Ben. Good to see you, Ben, as always. Absolutely a heritage listener, aren't you? You've been around since the beginning, I think. With Andy as well. I see Andy's doing good things. See him online. He's doing great things. And Jeffrey, thank you for your donation. And oh, gosh, and Gregory, yeah, Brendan, thank you very much all. You're amazing people. You are amazing people. Love you all. Thank you so much for your help. Okay, right. Let's now go into this here song. All Things Bright and Beautiful, and it's to the tune Royal Oak. So Tyler, you requested this a while ago, but I'm just getting around to it now. What's a Ferrari? I think it was a great race, don't you? I think it was great that he won it. Absolutely great. His last race at Silverstone with Mercedes, I think he was just right. He can now sort of retire a happy man. Here we go, guys. All Things Bright and Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to have another hymn which was sent in ages ago by Benjamin Yao. It's a certain man of whom we read, who lived in days of old. Though he was rich, he felt his need of something more than gold. Oh yes, my friend, there's something more than gold. To know your sins are all forgiven is something more than gold. This comes in from Benjamin Yao, who sent this in quite a while ago. He says about it, requesting this hymn that is often sung in our children's Sunday school. Looking out for the fermata, he says. And he says, oh, with the fermata on the refrain's first word, oh, being dragged as long as the children had breath. That's funny. Because you highlighted a while ago that his request didn't have a fermata. So he actually sent me one specifically with a fermata. So I'm curious, what sports are you guys into? Man, I must admit, I don't play much sport. Okay. What I know about sport probably wouldn't fill the back of a matchbox. But I do wonder though, what sports are you into? Perhaps that could be a question that you ask me, I don't know. But I'm curious as to what, yeah, I know Ian Gardner's in golf. Yeah. What's your handicap, Ian? Is it down into single figures, yeah? Okay, so let's play this hymn from for Benjamin Yao, who will probably, I think are you in bed, Benjamin, at this sort of time? And I'll try to look up as I'm playing it. Yeah, I think you may have mentioned it once or twice. I think people just needed reminding that you play it, right? Good old Benjamin, always requesting a hymn with a fermata. Fermata is basically just a slight pause on a note. It's just a posh way of saying a pause, really. But it's just not quite as long as a pause, and it's often mid-phrase, just a little bit of an allogando. That's what it means. Oh, yes, my friend, there's something more than gold. To know your sins are all forgiven is something more than gold. Right, well, let's turn to the poll to see. Oh, we've had a good turnout. Yes, 119 now. That's better than last time. Thank you for voting. It's getting tight now. So we've got around 220. It's hovering around that figure, which is great. That's the audience viewing figures. So I don't know what percentage that is, but I think that's more than 50%. Is it maybe 60% turnout? I don't know. It's 121 votes now. So it's quite close again. It's quite close, but there is a team in the lead. Hey, we had a good result last night, didn't we? As English folk. About time we got some progress in an international tournament, isn't it? 1 penalties though, crikey, that's good luck. And we're playing the Netherlands. Is there anyone in from Holland? Because we're playing you, I think, on Wednesday night, aren't we? 8 o'clock UK time. It's me v you. Right, so let's crack on now. 123 votes, excellent. Here we go. End poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a strange way to do it, isn't it? But there we go. That's what I chose to do. I don't know why. Click. Boom. There we go. So we have another winner. My shepherd will supply my need is victorious in match number 19. So where does he go? Into match 22. Right, so what we're going to do now is head into match number 20. And the winner of match 20 will play My Shepherd Will Supply My Need next week. Match 20 is going to be a tough one, I know, because these are two of the greatest hymns in existence, I think. One is one of the hymns for Lent and Passiontide around the Easter season. And the other is one of the great Christmas hymns or carols. I don't know how you're going to choose, frankly, but let me just say that I'm glad that I'm sat here playing it and not voting. Maybe I should vote. So, because it is demographic after all, isn't it? Maybe I should vote. Maybe I should vote. Why not? It is even true that the Prime Minister does vote in an election. So maybe I should be the Prime Minister. Let's talk. Yeah, I can add a vote. I can increase the turnout. I can see myself now tapping on my phone. That looks very unprofessional. Okay, so let me just pop it in the chat. So, oh, shut up, you. Shut up. I don't want to hear myself talking. Okay, so match 20. When I survey the wondrous cross versus joy to the world, the Lord has come. Click. So when I survey to the magnificent tune of Rockingham, but that doesn't count because, as we know, it's not about the tune, it's about the words. When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but to loss, and pour contempt on all my pride. Okay, so this is going to be a tough one, I think. I think this is going to be a close one. I have no idea which way it's going to go. But, well, let's see. So, welcome to match 20. this is rather bizarre, but we go from such a beautiful, powerful hymn, which I think you will all agree is one of the, you wouldn't have a top 5 favourite best hymns for the season of Passiontide without that hymn in it. I think we'd mostly all agree that. Now we're going to go to the other end of the liturgical calendar, Christmas. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Tuba. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing. Full swell. And heaven and nature sing. Couplers. And heaven and nature sing. Full great. Let's go. Over very quickly, isn't it? It's more like just a choral fanfare, isn't it? That you might have. Oh, I don't know. I don't know when you'd have it in a service. It's not long enough for a processional, perhaps a recessional, and then the organ can go smashing into something, you know, like. Something like that. I think that would work, wouldn't it? Or perhaps a hymn just before you sing, before you're going into the gospel, because the gospel is often all about fanfare, isn't it? And excitement. Christmas gospel is a good story. Perhaps you'd have it before the gospel. When would you have that hymn or carol in a service? Vienne indeed. Right. Here we go. This is a rather extraordinary match, isn't it? It's like Ultimate Easter or versus Ultimate Christmas. Okay, so here we go. Start a poll. Match 20. When I survey the wondrous cross, it was to the tune Rockingham, by the way, which is a tune that we have over in this country. Against Joy to the World, the Lord has come. Music there by Laurel Mason. Okay, so whilst you're voting, I expect a really good turnout. Oh, I'm going to vote as well. I'm going to vote. How do I vote? I have to close the chat and reopen it. That doesn't work. Oh no, I can't see the chat now. I'm giving you all the advice on how to see the chat. And Muggins here. I can't see it. What? What have I done wrong? Oh, idiot. I haven't even put it. No, I have put it. It is there. So why can't I see it? I don't know why I can't see it. Is it because I'm... Why can't I see it? Why can't I see it, guys? Oh, come on. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to vote. I want to vote. I feel like I'm being left out here. Oh, I can see it now. Yes. I am voting that way. There we go. Right. Let's go into now a couple more requests which came in ages ago. One here from Daniel Kubaki. Not seen him in the chat. So maybe someone can give him a nudge if someone's friends him on Facebook or something. Because actually it's his top 5 tonight. So if somebody wants to give him a message, he can then join in. Daniel, it's your top 5 tonight. So he's asked for Spirit of God, descend upon my heat. Which I'm almost certain I should say heart. And 800 in ELW. Spirit of God, descend upon my heart. And wean it from earth through all its pulses move. Stoop to my weakness, strength to me impart, and make me love you as I ought to love. Tune is called Morecambe. The words are by George Crowley. The music is by Friedrich Atkinson. Sean has just made a request. Yeah, so if you have any questions, but I've had a couple of questions already, which I'll get to. But if you have any questions for me, just pop a little something in the tip jar for me, and then we'll capture that question and we'll have some Q&As a bit later on. So we'll have this hymn from Daniel, and then see how we get on. I might play a live request after that. Okay, let's do this. Mob. Cheers, Dan. I can see you in the chat now. I hadn't seen you chatting before. So It's good to see you. I got your top 5 coming later on as well. Good. I didn't know that one at all. So thanks for sending that one through. Does Daniel give a reason? He says, this hymn was pre-programmed on our church's organ. I found it while going through the list of hymns. Okay, so it was on Daniel's. That's pretty cool. That organ comes preloaded with hymns. How does the organ know how many verses to play, Daniel? He says, this hymn has a great text and Morecambe is a grand tune. Well, it is a lovely tune. So thank you very much for sending it through. I'm sorry it took me a while to get through to get to it. I'm going to have a little live request. Let's have a request that's coming from Ben Wallace, one of our, I think, longest listeners. Oh God, this hymn book has completely gone all over the place. I'm amazed how that pile didn't fall over, frankly. Just rather precariously is a keyboard sitting on top of it. Right, I need this orange one here. Literally drowning in hymn books. Right, and my lights have gone to blooming white. Okay, Google, YouTube lights. As if by magic. That's so much more atmospheric, isn't it, when you got a nice warm colour like that. So, Ben, where are you, Ben? Number 436, which in the NEH is Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven. But it's not in here. It's Majesty, worship his majesty. Unto Jesus be glory, honour and praise. As I've done previously when playing this hymn, I'll play it through twice because it is so short. And it's rather fun. So we'll have it twice, Ben. I'm sure you won't complain about that. For your information, Richard, I've never tired of VC. Are you sure? Well, I'm very flattered that you say that, and I'm actually rather relieved because I do try to keep it alive by doing these, these hymn competitions and all sorts of things like that, top fives. And what we haven't done for a long time is get people to actually record a hymn for me to play it online. So that is still a possibility. If you want to record yourself playing a hymn, you can send it through to me and I'll play it. Or what you can do is, on your phone, most phones, most of you will have a smartphone, whether it's an Android or Apple phone. You can record a voice memo, all right? So all you need to do is, if you're on your iPhone, okay, and I'm telling you this because this is something that I want you to do for me, if anyone's brave. If you load up something called voice memos, it's on everyone's iPhone, you can record yourself saying something. If you do that, say, hello, I'd like to request, guide me, O thou great Redeemer, because I like singing high and loud. Yeah, you can say that, and then you can share it or send it to me. Send it to virtualchurch@beautyandsound.co.uk, and if I receive an audio recording like that, I will play it, and then I will play the hymn. Wouldn't that be really funky? So come on, let's have some brave souls doing that. Okay, so Majesty, worship his majesty, and then after this we will have the results to the poll. Let's go quick. Cheers, Ben. Right, let's now go where... Okay, quite a good turnout. Yes, 126 of you have voted. 126 of you have voted. I've got 234 watching, about that sort of 240 according to my analytics on that page. So here we go. 5 seconds. What's the best way to do this? Let's start there. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Paul, bang. There we go. So let's hear it, everyone, for When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. Hard luck, joy to the world. I think had it been a different competitor, you might have had more of a chance. But I don't envy anyone going up against When I Survey. So, When I Survey next week is playing My Shepherd Will Supply My Need, to that wonderful tune, Resignation. Which means now we only have one match to go, and this is a biggie. This one is a biggie. I save this one to last because I know this is going to be a tough one. I like both of these hymns very, very much, and I don't know which one I would vote for. However, you know, please, I'm sure James or Bill will paste a link to the words, and I urge you all to follow the words very carefully, to see which words speak to you, not just for the tune, not just for the popularity of one of the hymns, but which words speak to you. Okay, that's so important. It's about the poetry of these words and the context, the narrative, the story, the way Isaac Watts has chosen syllables and words to rhyme. Perhaps he hasn't chosen them to rhyme intentionally. So it's so important to bear all of those things in mind. Okay, so let's go into match number 18, which is a final match tonight. O God, our help in ages past, versus Jesus shall reign wherever the sun. So let's start with O God, our help in ages past, which is, of course, we all know this already because we have it quite regularly. It's to the tune St. Anne, which is why the fugue from the Prelude and Fugue in E flat by Bach is nicknamed the St. Anne because all of those notes are the same notes as the opening of this hymn. Oh God, our help, ages past. We all think, it's widely agreed, that that was purely coincidental. It's unlikely that Bach would have heard this hymn. He may have done, I don't know. But it's just a pure coincidence that all those notes are the same, which is why it's nicknamed the St. Anne fugue. And then this is up against Jesus shall reign wherever the sun, to the tune Duke Street, I think it is. So before we get there, let's have a go at O God, our help in ages past. Good luck to both teams. I'm rooting for you both here. Two very good tunes. No, sorry, two very good words, two very good hymns specifically. All right? Okay, good luck. As Nick Nat says, one of those hymns with a fine line between too slow and too fast. Well, on that note, I would encourage you to go and check out Virgil Fox's own rendition of it, which is available on YouTube. And there's a soprano soloist singing to it with him playing. And I wonder whether you think that was too fast or too slow. Let me just put it this way. I was very impressed with the soprano as she managed to keep up, keep going, and have lots of stamina. Okay, so second hymn in this match, which is no easy task, I say, competing against O God, I Help Ages Past. I wouldn't like to be its rival, put it that way. What is it? Jesus shall reign wherever the sun. Where's J in the alphabet? It's around there somewhere. Jesus shall reign. Jesus shall reign wherever the sun. To the tune Duke Street. So I'll read the words as I normally do for the first verse. Jesus shall reign wherever the sun does his successive journeys run. His kingdom stretch from shore to shore, till moons shall wax and wane no more. Okay, let's see how we get on. I almost dare not play it. I sort of want to prolong kickoff in this match because it's going to be a tough one. I have a feeling that Oh God, I Help is going to be a very strong contender in the competition. But come on, Jesus shall reign. You've been training hard for weeks now. You're doing really well to get to the quarterfinals. Just one more push, and you might just get over the fence. Okay, let's do it. Right, there we go. Final whistle has blown now. Match is over. but no one knows what the score is. That would be a weird game of football, wouldn't it? Play 90 minutes of football, but no one knows what the score is until after the final whistle is blown. That would throw a spanner in the works. It's a bit like penalties, actually. No one knows what's going to happen. Anyway, so let me put the poll up on the screen for you. So that was the match 18. Secret for Reddit. Don't you worry, because the poll is coming your way right now. This is match 18. Copy paste. Copy paste. Start the poll. I can do a vote as well, because this is a demographic. And I'm going to vote for, which way should we go? Left, right, center, left, right. Ooh. I'm going to go for, there we go. Right, so, excellent. What I'm going to do now, whilst you're voting for those hymns, is I'm going to whiz through a top 5. We've not had a top 5 for weeks, simply because we've been doing the hymn competition. Okay, so if I unpin, does that make a difference? If I unpin that, can you see it now, Barbara? Don't know. So I'm going to play a top 5, and I'm going to play a top 5 that has come in from Daniel Kubacki. And I thought I would play this hymn, this top 5. Well, because Daniel's been around for a long time, so he's a much valued member of our community. But also, he was very took a long time preparing it, and he's put it into a document, and it's very nicely presented. The first hymn, which is number 5 out of 4, out of hymn number 5 out of 5, was the one that we've just heard. It was Jesus Shall Reign Wherever the Sun. So we've had number 5 already. However, let Daniel introduce these hymns for you. This top 5 took me a few weeks to put together. You should know most of these hymns, as they are from the United Kingdom. The others are from the United States. I think he means that other top 5s are from the United States. This top 5's theme is God, Jesus, prayer, and heaven. I think some punctuation in that sentence might have helped. Otherwise, I've got God, Jesus, prayer, and heaven. like a long name. I hope that you and the VC congregation will like this list. Enjoy, he says, with an exclamation mark. So number 5 was Jesus Shall Reign Wherever the Sun, to the tune Duke Street. I have always loved the tune Duke Street. It is a commanding tune. I've never heard it called commanding. And in fact, I've never used the a commanding as a way to describe a tune, but I think it's a great word, actually. It's a commanding tune, but it also flows. The message of this hymn is simple. With Jesus, anything is possible. So we've had that one, all right? The next one, though, is not an Isaac Watts tune. It's, when, O Jesus, I have promised to serve thee to the end. As we all know, O Jesus, I have promised has many tunes. Angel's Story is the one used here in the USA. But I like Wolvercotte more. One of the greatest hymn tunes comes out of the UK. I can't disagree with that. One of the greatest hymn tunes to come out of the UK, of course. Yes. It's Harwood, isn't it? Basil Harwood. He wrote it as the composer. This hymn talks of our commitment to keep the promises we made to Jesus. And it also asks of Jesus to protect us all from evil. Oh, it's not Basil Harwood at all. I was thinking of Thornbury. Thy hand, O God, has guided. Different hymn, different tune. O Jesus, I have promised to serve thee to the end. Be thou for ever near me, my master and my friend. I shall not fear the battle if thou art by my side. No wonder from the pathway if thou wilt be my guide. Great tune and great words. So the tune here is Wolvercotte. Very interesting, guys. You were saying that that was quite fast. That's how I always play it. I don't know whether you've ever commented on the speed before, but I've always played at that speed in real life as well. I don't find it too fast to get the words around those notes. Oh Jesus, I have promised to serve thee to the end. Be thou forever near me, my master and my friend. I shall not fear the battle if thou art by my side, nor wander from the pathway if thou wilt be my guide. I don't find it challenging at all. I think that's quite nice, that speed. Well, the congregations in Romsey Abbey have to do it at that speed anyway. They haven't got a say in the matter. They used to be playing hymns at quite a lick. Anyway, when we go next, Angel, when we get your list back up. Number 3 in Daniel's list. These are These are good hymns, actually. Number 3 is O Worship the King, to the tune Hanover. O Worship the King is the most British hymn on this list. I love the tune Hanover. The text is great, and this hymn speaks of God as the high king and ruler of us all. I've never particularly thought of O Worship the King as the most British hymn ever, but I suppose it could be. I mean, Hanover is in Germany, but we do have a Hanover Square in London, I suppose. So I suppose it's how you interpret it. Okay, so here we go. Where is it? O worship, O worship, O worship. O worship, O worship. I always get confused with O and then another word, because there it is. O worship the King to Hanover. O worship the King, O glorious above. O gratefully sing God's power and love. Our shield and defender, the ancient of days, pavilioned in splendor and girded with praise. I'm just looking at your comments about the previous hymn at the tempo, me singing it. Peter says, very fast to get your head around the modulations. Oh, don't worry about that. Just sing it and play it from the heart. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Okay, so here we go. O Worship the King to the tune Hanover. 4 verses of this one. Great tune. Great tune. Okay, so number 2 in Daniel's list is Sweet Hour of Prayer to the tune Sweet Hour. Sweet Hour of Prayer is one of the best hymns to come out of the United States. I'll tell you what, there's one thing we all know about Daniel. He likes to make statements, doesn't he? This hymn speaks about the importance of private prayer. The hymn lyricist was a blind preacher. For him, prayer was a deeply private affair. Prayer was a way to seek protection from the trials and temptations of the world. Prayer also is a way to render our feelings, thoughts, and experiences to God who knows all. Well, we better not have any secrets from God then, because he knows them all. In which case, why do we need to go to confession? It's funny how the Church of England doesn't do confession like Catholic Church does. I know we confess our sins, the absolution, but we don't have confession, at specific times during the day. Maybe we just don't need to. Maybe we're just so innocent that we just don't have any sins to confess. Right, Sweet Hour of Prayer. Sweet hour of prayer that calls me from a world of care and bids me at my Father's throne make all my wants and wishes known. In seasons of distress and grief, my soul has often found relief, and oft escaped the tempter's snare by thy return, sweet hour of prayer. This has got a sort of a lilting feel about it. You'll see what I mean in a sec. So let me get my stops out. It's always a help. I'm going to do that. That, and that, I think. Let's get Great pedal in. Okay, and let's have a go with this one. So Sweet Hour of Prayer, number 2 in Daniel Kubaki's top 5 hymns. Okay, that one may then, according to the chat, have been just a little on the fast side. However, I think if you just take the music in isolation, I think the music certainly, I didn't feel like the music was going too fast, but I take what you're saying about the words, possibly on reflection, this is more like this is not a loud hymn, this is a reflective sort of communion hymn, isn't it? A sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, that calls me from a world of care and bids me. That's probably the tempo I would conduct a choir. I think we've probably settled into that tempo towards the end. I think that would probably be my tempo, my choir. But then you have hymns, played and sung at all different sorts of speeds in every different church, don't you? It depends who's playing, it depends who's singing, depends on the size of the building, whether it's large or small, big Washington Cathedral or St. John the Divine in New York. You would definitely have it more steady just because of the vastness of the building itself and the massive, massive acoustic. But then if you're doing it in a little tiny village in the back and beyond where there's enough seats for 20 people most, you're gonna you might push it on because it's just it's a very close knit community and you're all just able to hear each other and sing it a bit quicker. Well, anyway, that was number 2 in Daniel's list. Where's me list gone? Oh, it's on here. I've got so many things open, so many things open. Why isn't it going back to me thing? What's going on? There we go. So number 1. Number 1 in Daniel's list is Blessed Assurance, to the tune Assurance. This is the final hymn in the list, and then we'll have a look at the votes. Had a good turnout so far, but you can keep voting. So the hymn Blessed Assurance is the work of 2 women, the famous blind lyricist Fanny Crosby and composer Phoebe Knapp. I first encountered this awesome hymn when attending the choir festival in Ocean Grove in New Jersey. I fell in love with this hymn on first hearing it. The hymn is important to the people of Ocean Grove. Fanny Crosby spent her summer vacations from 1877 to 1897 in Ocean Grove in New Jersey. The hymn speaks of heaven and what awaits us there if we accept Jesus as our Saviour. That we should strive every day to give praise to Jesus, our Saviour. Well, let's have a look at this hymn and bear that in mind. So Daniel says, this hymn speaks of heaven and what awaits us if we get there. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. Heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Saviour all the day long. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Saviour all the day long. Number 1 in Daniel's list. So thank you very much, Daniel, for sending through that top 5. Really do appreciate you putting the time and effort into creating that for me and writing down your thoughts around each hymn. So just to recap on what Daniel had in his top 5. Jesus shall reign wherever the sun, which is also in the competition. O Jesus, I have promised to serve thee to the end. O worship the King, all glorious above. Sweet hour of prayer, which is a fraction too fast in your view. And then, number 1 was blessed assurance. Jesus is mine. Thank you very much, Daniel. Right, you've had loads of time now to cast your vote. We've had 146 votes, so that's a really good turnout. So we're going to click End Poll. And quite clearly, the winner of match 18 was O God, our help in ages past. So O God goes into match 21. So next week, in the semi-finals, we have 4 hymns. Match 21 and match 22. Match 21 is I Sing the Almighty Power of God versus O God, our help in ages past. Match 22 will be My Shepherd will supply my need versus When I survey the wondrous cross. So how next week will work is we'll have the semi-finals, as I've just said just then, with those 4 hymns. The winner of each match will then go into the final, and the loser of those 2 matches will go into 3rd place, and they will compete for 3rd place. So next week we have 4 matches, and we find out who is the winner of the Isaac Watts Hymn World Cup 2024. Okay, so now we're going to go through the live requests that you've been sending through, which I've had a few, and I will answer some questions. And I will have a look at these questions now. So we had a first question from Michelle, who was insanely generous and put $100 into the VIS tip jar down in the bottom right of the screen. Michelle, that is so generous. I can't tell you how much that means to me. I really appreciate that. So Michelle asks, do you have perfect pitch and or synesthesia? If so, or even if not, do you have a key that feels like home to you? Well, it's a really interesting one, and I've had this conversation a few times with people around the perfect pitch thing and the it's easy for me to say, synesthesia thing. So let me explain to people who may not know what is what. So perfect pitch is being able to sing a note. I could sing an A, or someone could play a note, and then somebody with perfect pitch will say, that's an E flat. Okay. Synesthesia is not related to perfect pitch. It's related to colours. So like this chart here, purple, blue, green, yellow, and red. Some people, like Messiaen, had this. He saw and heard music in colours. So if he heard a certain key or a certain sound or timbre, it would trigger a very strong sensory attached to a colour. So he would see blue, for example. And there's no standard with synesthesia, as far as I'm aware. So people will attach different colours to different things. So one person might have D major as blue, and another person will have D major as green. It's also not tied to music. It goes as far as words, as smells. It's everything. You associate something with a colour. So Michelle's asking me, do I have synesthesia? The answer to that is no, I don't. The only way I can associate music or keys to colours is if they are a dark key or a bright key. So a dark key for me is something like B flat minor. I think the darkest key of them all, B flat minor, even played with quite a bright registration there with the 4-foot there, it still has a sort of a dark quality. Those are quite dark keys, so I feel like they're sort of black and brown. But then if we go all the way to C major or A major, it's much happier, so it evokes sort of happy, bright colours. A major, and then of course D major. I think it's just the emotion of the happiness of those keys which stimulate bright thoughts, I guess. Into the perfect pitch thing. Now, I don't have perfect pitch at all. I have relative pitch. I think every trained musician should have relative pitch because it's good oral. You know, you should, if someone plays you a D, and then someone says to me, sing an A, do. It's simple because it's a 5th higher, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So relative pitch is being able to identify or sing another note based on a given note. So when it comes to the organ, I can 9 times out of 10 identify the key of a piece of music if someone's playing it. If someone plays an E minor chord on an organ, I will go, that's an E minor. Only because I can feel the pedal notes, and I sort of know where they are. As a singer, you may not have perfect pitch, but if you've been singing for 50, 60 years, not even that long, and I say to you, sing me a middle C, and the chances are you will sing a middle C. It might be out by a semitone or a tone, but that's down to muscle memory. You sort of know where to pitch your voice with a muscle. It's the same with the organ. I sort of know where pedal notes lie. I know how keys sound on certain registrations. I can sort of pull various sensories together to come up to a best answer, a best guess. So I don't have perfect pitch, but so if someone on the violin played me a note, I wouldn't have a clue. I literally wouldn't have a clue because I find the sound of the violin beautiful, but I just can't quite identify where the note is. On the piano I can, because obviously I'm a pianist. I've been playing the piano for longer than I have the organ. But on an instrument that I'm not familiar with, it's actually very hard. And I was talking to someone about that very recently who does have perfect pitch. And they did actually said, they agreed that on instruments that they're not familiar with, they find it hard to pick out the notes or identify the pitch. But instruments with which they are familiar, they can. You know, if someone plays saxophone, they hear an E flat, they'll know it's an E flat. I think actually that is fair of all or most musicians anyway. I hope that answers your question, Michelle. And we'll get into another question in a minute. So I'll have a request now that's coming in from Gregory Potter. What did you... Well, Gregory, you actually sponsored When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. We've had that. Would you consider that one okay? I played that one to you already. It was in the competition. And it made it through to next week. So that's good news. Brendan Nolan has requested the Old Rugged Cross and was very generous to send through 14 Canadian dollars. So thank you very much, Brendan. That means a lot. He's going to dedicate this to his grandmother, who passed away at 97. Well, that's very sad, but 97, you have to admit, that's a fantastic life, isn't it? That's a fantastic achievement. If I live to 97, I will say to my children and grandchildren, you better not be sad. I mean, I'll say, I'm amazed that I've lived this long, frankly, that you dare be sad. I've been around for far too long. You should be celebrating that I'm now buggering off. If I reach 50, I'll be happy. So Brendan, the old rugged cross is just for you in memory of your granny. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I loved that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. Okay. One other thing, Michelle, is I would say that having perfect pitch, I mean absolute perfect pitch, which some people do have, where you can hear any tone on any instrument and just know what the pitch is straight away. People who have that, it can be a huge hindrance. And I'll tell you why after this hymn. Can anyone think of any reasons why having absolute perfect pitch is a bad thing? Let me give you a clue. If you're a singer and you're singing in a choir, That was, on a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, as requested there by Brendan Nolan in honour of his grandma who passed away at 97. So thoughts are with you, Brendan, for you and your family at this time. So I asked you why you thought having absolute perfect pitch might actually be not a good thing and more of a hindrance. Michelle has actually I was looking up at the chat as I was playing, and she said, "Oh yes, choirs going flat drives me nuts." I don't have perfect pitch, but once I gave our choir director a pitch, a semitone up, knowing we'd end in the right key. Yes, of course. So people with perfect pitch, Caroline included actually, she sort of has that. We'll read quite simply the note on the page. C and A, you sing an A. C and F sharp, you sing an F sharp. What happens if the choir is transposing it up or down a tone or more than that? Or, of course, if the choir has gone a little bit flat like that, those poor folk with perfect pitch are still singing the note as printed and will stand out like a sore thumb and cannot adjust. The amount of people I know who that's an issue for is significant. So I personally think it's far better to have good relative pitch. Having said that, I've worked with David Hill before, and I've seen him firsthand in proper David Hill rehearsal mode. And he'll say, bar 4, whatever, page 2, bar 4, here are the notes, bomb, 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 bomb. And it could be, not just a sort of a triad chord, it could be something very obscure. And he will sing every single note, bang, 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 and then bring the choir in straight away. He's got such a relentless tempo in his rehearsal. It's daunting. So to be able to do that would be pretty awesome, I would say. But okay, so that's next. The next hymn coming your way is one from Alan Cross, who sent through £2 into a chip bar. I don't know what the chip bar is. The tip bar, Alan. God is working his purpose out. Oh, then this is a hard one to play. I need to make sure I don't play too many or too few syllables. To the tune Benson. Let me find it. God is working his purpose out as years succeeds to you. Okay, so Alan, this one is just for you, my friend. Thank you very much for your donation. Let's have a go. Anyway, let's look at another question actually, and then I'll answer this, and then we'll get into the next hymn. So William asks about the BIS organ's memory system. Are there separate divisional piston memory levels? And what are the 10 buttons at the top? Okay, so the organ console itself does not have any memory contained within it. The only memory with regards to divisionals, generals, and sequencer is all stored within Hauptwerk. All right, so if I push that back a little bit, put you onto the camera up there for a second. What I was just pointing to there, the screens and the buttons here, this is basically relaying what Hauptwerk is telling me. So it's telling me that I'm on channel 1 for the combinations, which is on the top screen. And then the bottom screen is for the sequencer. And that's telling me what step that I'm currently on. Okay, so all of the memory for the sequencer and the combinations and everything is stored in Hauptwerk on the computer, and those two screens are just relaying what work is outputting. The other question which William asked was, what are these buttons here on the top manual? Those are the buttons for the sequencer. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I can get to any number on the sequencer using those buttons. All right. So how that works is one of those numbers there only changes the final number in the sequencer step. So you can have 999 steps in the sequencer. Okay. These buttons up there only change the final one. So like if I pressed 4, this is too complicated to explain, but I need to change the first 2 digits using the buttons over here on the keypad, and then press one of these buttons over here for the final digit. Okay, so if I want to go to number 6, I would make sure that I had 0, 0 over here, and then I would press 6 up there. If I wanted to go to 89, I would make sure that I had 0, 8 over here, and then I press 9 over there. If I wanted to go to 140, obviously I would go to 1 and 4 over here, and then 0 up there. William, does that make sense? I tell you what, when people come round to play this organ, explaining how that works is a bit of a bore, let me tell you that. If anyone can think of a simple way of explaining that, please let me know, because I've sat here for many occasions for many, many minutes trying to explain to people how it works, and I can't quite work out how to explain it in the simplest terms. Please help me out there. So, Will, the general, sorry, I didn't say the generals are, put you back onto, let's try this top camera. Those buttons there I was just pressing, those are the 10 generals that I've got set up on here as well. I chose to have only 10, and you hand workers will know that you can't step over the generals, hence the need for a sequencer, because you can step over the sequencer, so I have to have both. But I'll tell you what the generals are really good for is if you just want to set something up, you know, a plenum for a Bach prelude, you can just get your plenum out, bang, 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 you know, done, like that. You know, you just go to general 1, bang, done, forget it. But something more elaborate, you want to put them on the sequencer because you want to step over it. So I do use both. I often will only use maybe generals 1 to 5 in a recital, or even maybe 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes, actually, I haven't done one for quite a while for some reason, but when I did my organ complins, I will have, on general 1, I will sort of have a general accompanying sound for the plain song like we do live. So maybe just, you know, the flutes on the grate and something else somewhere. And just have that sound number 1, for example. Anyway, so hope that answers your question there. So let's, Alan, was that okay? Did I get all the syllables in the right place? Let's have another hymn, which comes in from Sean Peer. It's in my email, apparently. And it is, I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. I'll pop that in Fourscore so I can zoom around the pages. By the way, I did a concert last night. It's the first time it's ever happened to me. Using Fourscore, and it let me down. User error, though, right? So, oh, look at this. No, you won't see it because it won't be in focus. But when you're sort of like going through a piece, you're turning a page, turning a page, turning a page, and then you turn a page, and it's not the page it should be. That. And it's sort of live in a concert and like, oh no, trying to keep playing and then flicking around trying to find where the actual page was. So I had 2 or 3 pages that were out of order. And the reason that happened is because there was a repeat in this one particular piece which kept going back. So what I did, and I scanned it in, fine. And then I duplicated some pages. So I could just press the next page, and the next page would just be, you know, 3 pages back, and then it would go back through the repeat. You see what I mean? But somehow I hadn't quite got them in the right order. So when I pressed the page, or when I did my mouth movement to go back to the repeat sign, it went back to the wrong page. And then like it's just the nightmare. Like, what page am I meant to be on? Is the next page correct, or is the next page wrong? Which of course it was also wrong. But luckily the choir, I don't think the choir noticed, but I know the piece pretty well, and I was able to sort of busk it. And then I thought, we are definitely on the right page now. Play confidently. But that was the first time that's ever happened, and it was like sort of a heart and mouth moment. I come to the garden alone for Sean Pear. Thanks, Sean. We've had a couple of voluntary requests, which is good. So we've had a Howells request and Psalm 19. What's that then? We'll see that. We'll have a look when we get to Psalm 19. Oh, okay. And then a Whaley Whaley. Just come in. Is it on email somewhere? Is it? I have hundreds of emails, unread emails. Oh goodness, because I've been so busy this week. I've just not had any time to do anything other than play the organ. I don't know where that is. Sorry. Right, let's have another question. So Nick Knack sent a question, who says, "I have a question, but it's a bit boring." Don't worry about that. We like boring things here in Virtual Church. He says, "How much do you practice each day, and do you have any practice tips for us budding organists?" Well, I would say I don't. The honest answer to that is I don't practice every day, simply because I'm not always working towards a performance. If I'm working towards a concert, whether it be online for you guys or a recital or concert like I've been doing this week, I will do hours every day. And it also depends on the repertoire. So if I'm playing something that I know pretty well, then I don't need to spend 6 hours, every day for a week before the performance. But if it's something new, if it's a new piece, then yeah, I will need to spend several hours every day for maybe, before a concert, a week perhaps, getting it up to speed. But when you've been a professional musician and you do music full time, you learn ways of learning music quickly, often too quickly, because it doesn't go into long-term memory, or it doesn't go into muscle memory. And this is one of the things about being a cathedral organist, is that if there's anyone watching who has been a cathedral organist, or a church organist where you play a lot of repertoire quickly on rotation, because you're always working towards the next thing, you don't get enough time to spend on the upcoming thing, because you're always thinking, after that service there's that thing to do, and then that thing, and then that concert, and then that big service there's Christmas just there. So you sort of learn things to a level good enough to perform it, and then it's put away to do something else. That's one of the downfalls about being, I think it's a great skill because you can sight read, and it is a wonderful skill, but it's very different to being a solo performer, where you will spend a lot of time memorizing a piece and getting it under the fingers into muscle memory, and you learn things so much better. You're much more confident, and you can really draw out the music, the interpretation of a piece of music when you spend more time with it. You can get those cadences really beautifully placed, the allargandos, the interpretation. That's what makes a performance a personal, unique performance. But if you're learning something quickly, and you perform it quickly, an evensong tomorrow night, you haven't really got time to do that. So and on the tips thing, I would urge you, Nick-Nack, to go and have a look at 3 of my videos that I did, where I actually do a running commentary on 3 pieces. They're on BIS. The Gigu Toccata, the Dupré Cortège et Litanie, and then the Little Fugue in G minor by Bach. I sort of talk about the sort of things that I'm doing and how I learn it and how I practice it. So that might help you as well. Is that clear, or does that make it even more confusing? If I wasn't doing other things like recording organs, I do a lot of sound engineering behind the scenes. That's probably what I tend to do most. Put it online. If I wasn't doing that is a full-time job pretty much, and that I was only doing organ performance, then I would be doing hours every day. Clearly, I'd be doing 3 hours at least every day. But I'm not a full-time performer. I'm a very much a part-time performer, and then sort of a sound engineer and content creator. Performance is just part of the package, I suppose. Okay, so our final hymn, which I don't know whether it has been sent to me, but I'm not sure I can find it, unfortunately. It's on email, but I can't see if I can find it. I'm going to go into the voluntaries now. Oh, I've had another question actually from Dond 2K, who says, I'm from Southern California, and I'm wondering why you say past. Oh, rather than past. Well, I turn that question around to my Southern colleagues down here in England and ask you, Why do you say bath, but yet you say mathematics, but you say bath? Why? It makes no sense at all. Scone, scone, it's a scone. Now the answer there is that's a regional accent thing. So every country has, you know, dialects, north, south, east, west. You know, county between counties will have different regional dialects. So because I'm from the Northern Territories, fairly northern, I think it's northern. People say it's Midlands, but I'm from Derbyshire, North Derbyshire. I will say past and not past. But Caroline, who I think must be upstairs somewhere, because she's from the south, she will say past. So the people from the north will say past. It's just it's a regional thing. That's all it is. And Ian, I do wish, it does tickle me a little bit, but RX is ARX is not a name. It's R. Let me clarify this. R for Richie boy. You know, that's my name, isn't it? Richard, whatever. And the X is a kiss or a hug. When you put an X on a text, it's a kiss. Okay. So I'm not. My name isn't RX. It's R and then a hug, a kiss. Okay, that's what it is. And maybe I should put a space just to make it a bit clearer. This is so interesting to me. Thank you, Richard. You have such a very, very British accent. Very, 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 very British accent. What? How are you saying very in sort of your mind's eye in a British accent? Very, very. I can't. Oh dear. Anyway, let's have a voluntary, shall we? Let's have a vol. I'm going to go a little bit rogue, I'm afraid. I'm going to go rogue and play some Whitlock for you. This is the Scherzetto from Percy Whitlock's Organ Sonata in C minor. I'm going to just very quickly set it up. So what I'll do is I'll put you onto the Hauptwerk screen here, which is very useful, isn't it? That's not very helpful at all. Let me just go to I can't see that blooming things in the way. Look, one. I'm guessing where my mouse is. One. Oh, closed it now. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, people are watching and getting bored. Oh, how do I get rid of that? Right, I want to have that and that. Okay, so I'm just putting this on the screen so you can see me setting up my generals here. So he asks for 8 and 4 flutes on the choir. He asks for 8 and 4 flutes on the swell, along with the strings. We've got that. 8 and 4 on the grate. We've got that. The violone 16, 8 and 4. Well, I'm not going to have the 4. I'm going to have that on the pedal. Let's have quieter sort of swell to pedal. Put that on number 1. Then number 2, he wants the clarinet. Like that on number 2. That one's easy. Then he wants swell to great. There, I can manage that. Then he wants number 1. There, I can manage that. Number 3, he wants a bit quiet. That, which is a bit odd, isn't it? But I'm not going to have that. I'm going to have that instead, or that and that for number 3. And number 4, he wants me to add the 4-foot on the grate, which is like that. That's number 4. And then I think the rest is history. Okay, so this is the Scherzetto in F minor, which is the third movement of the organ sonata in C minor by Percy Whitlock. It went onto the pedal at the end rather randomly, but that was the Scherzetto from the Organ Sonata in C minor by Percy Whitlock. Drawing to a close today's virtual church, where we went through the quarterfinals of the Isaac Watts Hymn World Cup competition, taking through 4 hymns to the next week. And of course, 4 hymns have gone home for an early bath. Thank you for your questions this evening. It's been good fun getting to know you and chatting with you. I think we'll be doing some more questions later on, because it's quite a good way to sort of interact. Thank you for your support, as always. It's always very generous of you. Thank you for your requests. Thank you for your good company. Thank you, of course, to James Palmer, who's been doing a sterling job. He just tells me that we've had 25 pieces tonight. Can't quite know how we get through so many, but 25 tonight. I think that's, I think I've earned my money tonight. So I'm going to go now and collapse, because I've played, how many organs have I played this week in performance? I think 7 organs this week, 7 different organs, including this one. So I'm going to take a very quick selfie, and then I'm going to put it on social media. Look out on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll see what the post is. But I'm going to be putting it online in about 5-10 minutes. And I guess until then, I will say cheerio, everyone. Good night, you take care, and until next time, goodbye. Cheerio, everyone.